being willing to share your story here with us today. And what I'd like for you to start off doing is by introducing yourself with who you are, where you're from, and then tell us a little bit about your story of what issues you saw arise and how you started together in your partnership.
So I'm Marcy Merrill. I'm a professor at California State University, Sacramento, and I pulled this team together because at home we actually really partner and collaborate together. I spend a lot of my day at California State University thinking about college readiness and how to best prepare our students in the state for college, to bypass remediation, to feel successful in life, to be able to be a participant in the workforce. And so with the partnerships we already had established over time with Sacramento City schools and community colleges, with San Juan Unified School District, and they're partnering American River College, Community College, as well as other schools in our area, lots of schools in our area, and they're partnering community colleges. We already had systems in place. So some of those systems in place were that we had high school teachers who had gone through professional learning opportunities with a curriculum called expository reading and writing. We also had relationships forming with school districts and the community colleges. And so our group was pulled together because we, in these partnership responsibilities, the community college faculty were provided with the same professional development, and decided instead of being mentors to the high school teachers, they would be partners with the high school teachers, learning together, sharing information, norming, scoring. You'll hear much more about that in a few minutes. And in order to do that, we need district support, we need teacher support. It comes from all of them.
We really are focusing on a key issue, the literacy of our kids in that transition from the K-12 space to community college and to college. We realized that so many of our kids were eligible for college but not ready for college. And as a consequence of that, we're looking at remediation rates and what that does to kids long term and the financial aid. Honestly, I was having a heart attack, and so as a part of what I do, my name is Paula Hansel. I'm the executive director of Sacramento Pathways to Success, one of the collaborators in the city. It feels like a neighborhood because we have such good relationships. And our conclusion was, with this curriculum, we could move most of that remediation into the senior year. We have data now under SBAC to tell us where kids are with respect to readiness, and by bringing all parties together, putting them on the same plane and letting us work together, it's amazing what happens with that. The synergy is good, the work is good, and the kids benefit.
So what would you say has been the greatest success that you've seen from this particular, from your perspective in the partnership?
Well, in the larger good, in the state of California, we're in 800 schools in the state of California. The curriculum itself being used with students, and there are statistically significant results that show that students are benefiting from this curriculum. The senior year curriculum that moves them into and out of the need for remediation into college level work. So in the big picture, in the small picture, we're providing professional learning opportunities at all three sectors, at the community college, at the 4-year, and in the middle and high schools. I think there's been tremendous amount of professional growth change because of it. I think we're seeing a lot less assigning of material and a lot more close reading, a lot more writing going on, a lot more understanding of what writing should be and what it should be at the college level.
And I think that alignment of expectations, I see it in the kids who come into a class and say, God, this was the best thing that ever happened because now I understand. K-12 space, we don't have enough opportunities to read and write, that's clear. And this curriculum, I think, does a really good job of getting kids to the place where they learn how to read carefully, think thoughtfully, and write purposefully. And you can't get any better than that. And if the students say it's good, I think we got it.
There's also an understanding across segments. So share in the responsibility of educating these children and getting them best prepared, but we also pass the children along from segment to segment. So they move from high school into either a 2 or a 4 year better prepared. And we trust each other. There's a lot of trust built in that because we are on the same page, we've worked together, we're established as a cohesive unit, we understand what each segment is doing, which we hadn't prior to that.
I think the trust level is the relationships we've built are huge. And if you look at our contingent today, in our Sac State, we have 2 community colleges, 2 school districts, and figure out which one of us is which. You can't. And that speaks a great deal to the need for collaboration. And spending time together, working on the commonality we share, and that's our students. In our context, most of our students stay local, so we will be sharing students between our 2 K-12 districts, our 2 community colleges, and Sac State. Well, what better way to improve our region, our city, our economics, our kids?
How about a next step? What's the next hill to climb in?
So we'll
pass that on. All right. Okay.
And we will
Thank
continue
you all.
to work together.
Fantastic.
That is our next step, but I think they'll give you some better
Excellent.
insights.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
Nice.
Right, that was terrible.
You did not seem terrified at all.
You didn't. Hi.
Hi.
I'd like for you all to do the same thing, to tell us, to do a little bit of an introduction of who you are, where you're from, and then what sorts of issues brought you to this partnership.
So I'm Kathleen O'Brien. I'm from American River College in Sacramento, California. It's a community college. And one of the things that brought us to the issue of the partnership, as the previous speakers have just said, is the high proportion of our students that need remediation. So right now, just to give you a snapshot of last year, what our research showed was that about 68% of our students required reading remediation and 74% required writing remediation. So that's the problem we want to solve. And our hope is with the conversations that we have with this partnership, so that we can learn from what's happening in the high schools, but also, and I've learned teaching strategies from going into the high schools, but also for us to come into the high schools and tell the students what the expectations are for college level reading and writing. And I'm really happy with the ERWC curriculum, because I tell the students, this is preparing you for college level work so we can reduce that need for remediation.
I'm Josh Roberts from Sacramento City College. It's actually one of the sister colleges to American River. There are 4 colleges in our community college district, and we face largely the same issues. Our populations are very similar, a high degree of remediation, or high percentage of our students needing remediation. And it is a concern, obviously, that so many students are unprepared, and so we're just trying as many new things as we can to find ways to better prepare students for college work.
And what sorts of things do you feel have been most successful in that process?
Well, for us at Sacramento City College, we actually started the work about 4 years ago, and it wasn't specifically designed around this type of collaboration. We actually kind of found our way there, specifically through the ERWC. When our faculty started to take a look at it, we were surprised at how in line it already was with a lot of the remediation that we do. So that made it very easy for us to work with that curriculum. There really wasn't even any need to align it. It really was basically exactly what we do in our courses that exist below the freshman composition level. And so I'm the coordinator on our campus for this in the English department. And what I did is I went about finding individual faculty members from our department who would partner with one of our feeder schools. And I was really emphatically wanted to see these faculty members commit to those campuses. I did not want to have a turnover. I really wanted the building of the relationships. You can create systems, but I think it's the people that actually make those systems work. And so I selected faculty from our department that had prior experience either as high school instructors or a lot of experience working specifically with one specific campus. We had Initially, we brought in the English faculty from the high schools to sit in on a norming session that we do. Our course is one level. Our course that we have that's one level below freshman composition has a common final. And so it's group graded by our faculty members. No faculty member grades their own essays. And we brought the high school instructors in and said, here's our norming session. Here's what we're doing. And then we went with them over on their campuses, or our faculty members did, and helped them generate the same kinds of tests. We gave them our scoring guides for our in and out of class essays. And that partnership from there allowed us to really take a look at how we could use that 12th grade ERWC course to reduce remediation. And so what we're doing right now is any student who assesses as ready on the SBAC in their junior year is eligible for freshman composition. They don't need to assess. They can just, that's their assessment test, essentially, is showing that they're ready. The students who are conditionally ready, if they complete the 12th grade ERWC course successfully with a C or better, we will take them as ready. And to ensure that that is truly preparing them, we're using that common final from our course in conjunction with the ERWC. We're allowing those instructors at the 12th grade level to create their own tests that do that exact thing. And our faculty will have already gone into the classrooms at the 12th grade level and observed their faculty members. We've worked with our principals to get release time so they can come into our classrooms. It really is truly a partnership. We have the same students. And as I like to remind people, this isn't even remediation. This is really instruction at the level where it should occur.
And the professional learning that comes from looking at that student work together.
Yes.
And oh my goodness, that's
Yes.
so powerful.
And we do, our partnership is a little bit different. First of all, it's fairly new. We've just started last year. So what we do is we partner with our feeder school districts about which community college within the Los Rios district that they're going to come into. And so we are expanding our partnership. We started with San Juan last year. We're expanding it now to another feeder school district, Twin Rivers. That's brand new. And we do similar things. We don't have a shared common final. At our community colleges work a little bit differently. So we don't do a final in our class that we norm together, but we do get together with the teachers. We have workshops, we have norming sessions. Each one of our community college faculty in the partnership is paired with a specific high school. This year we did something really neat where we had the English teachers in the high school say, this is what we want to talk about, these are our needs, so that when we go into those high schools, we have conversations about, and we learn from each other. That's great, and it's truly collaboration.
Yeah, and I hear a lot of flexibility
Yes.
in the model, which is lovely. It's fitting it with your context.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Do you have more to add?
In terms of the solutions, just the directions we're going in, at American River College, we're interested in creating a database where we can actually track the success of those graduates from the San Juan district. You know, it's all about tracing the effectiveness.
Right.
Using data to prove that.
Yes.
Just as our next steps, we are actually developing a community of practice where faculty members from all of the different areas, from the 4-year, the 2-year, and from the K-12, meet once a month to talk about specific teaching practices within the ERWC. We've already had one main meeting for that, and we have another one coming up here pretty soon, and we hope to make this a very regular faculty-driven event.
Lovely. Very lovely. Thank you very much for sharing.
Whoa. All right.
The booth is falling over.
Temporary structure.
Good afternoon. So it's sort of the same spiel. So you guys want to, if you just want to pop in and introduce yourself and talk a little bit about what needs you saw that brought you into the partnership, or how that happened, and where you see it's going from here.
I'm Janae Leffering. I'm a professor at American River College. You know Brian. And I was really excited to be part of this partnership because I see in the writing classes that I teach that my students are not only unprepared for college level reading and writing, but they've been prepared in some really specific ways. Their teachers told them like this was going to be what's good for college, but that's not true. So I think there's a lot of like misperceptions and myths going around. So I just wanted to be able to ask questions of high school teachers and learn what they were doing. And I found when I went to talk to these high school teachers that they were really good teachers. I mean, they were doing good work, especially those working on the ERWC curriculum. But what they did need was just a little bit of like an introduction to composition theory. So they had a lot of good strategies, but they struggled with what to do when students were struggling with their writing. And that was easy for me to give them, like, for example, I had them read Marie Foley's The Teaching a 5-Paragraph Essay and Donald Murray's Right Before Writing, just some really kind of introduction pieces that would help them with that kind of teaching writing. And just lots of activities that I think are, ones that all writing teachers know, but they hadn't really been introduced to writing discovery drafts or having students do, substantial revision of their work. So on a real personal level, that's what we ended up working on. They had that need, so they could help their students with it. And then their students come into my class, then they already have that vocabulary, and I can be saying the same thing to those students.
Right,
They've
that
already heard.
coherence, right? That
Yeah.
coherence is so important and so key. Thanks.
So my name is Carrie Marks. I'm from Sacramento City College, and I'm partnered with 2 different high schools. And the need that I really saw was the issue with remediation. So we have so many of our students coming into remediation, and we know that most of them don't make it out of remediation. So they end up, dropping out of college, becoming discouraged. It just takes too long. And so I really was excited about reaching out to the high schools and working with them to try to prevent the need for remediation in the first place. So I think the difficult part of setting up the partnership was that we had to initially deliver that message to say your students are coming in and they're placing into remedial level classes and they're not making it out. It's all bad news. And so that's a hard message to deliver without it coming across as blame.
Right, right.
And I think the reason I was chosen to be in the partnership is because I've been working in a high school. I was a high school teacher before I came in. And I already had connections to these 2 high schools and to some of the teachers there. So I think it was easier for me to talk to them in that collaborating way. Also going through the ERWC training with the teachers and letting them know that I was trying out the strategies in my classes. I think that was important. And so I could say, you know what, this is going to be fantastic, because part of the issue is that students are confused because their 10th grade teacher said this, but their 11th grade teacher said this, and 12th grade said this, and then college said this. So if we can all have the same language, wouldn't that just be powerful? And so, we really were able to take that on together. The other issue that I think they struggled with was having common standards around writing and figuring out if they were all grading the same way. So coming to our norming session was really eye-opening for them, and the high schools, both high schools, really sought me out after that before I even did, and said, we'd like to try that at our school. Can you help us develop a norming packet? And let's look at student work together. So that was really neat to be invited in and to participate in that process.
Nice. One of the themes I'm hearing through all of the conversation here is this this way of working around. So often we get stuck in that blame game. We get stuck in the finger pointing thing, and it's based on a lot of assumptions, right? It's based on a lot of assumptions, and by bringing everybody together for conversation, you're building that coherence that's just so strong. I love it. And how about your next steps? Where are you headed from here?
One of the things that's come out of the partnership that I think has been really helpful is the teachers have had me go around to other teachers in their schools and talk about just college and what the college has to offer students. But it's also those teachers have had to listen to me say what colleges expect, even if that's not what they're teaching in that class. So I think it's helping to maybe recruit teachers to this ERWC curriculum, which is more in line with what we do in college. And also getting my colleagues at my college to see what the high schools are doing, because we need more mentors in the colleges, more people working together, not just a handful of us having these great relationships, but just more people involved in the partnership.
I think that's one of my next steps as well, is to reach out to more of my community college faculty members and to get them on board to understand more about the ERWC curriculum and the language that students are coming in knowing, and the skills that they're going to come in knowing, so that they can really harness that and use that for themselves in their own classes. And I think also, we have a lot to learn from high school teachers. Most of us who teach at community college don't have a background in instruction. And so I'd like to be able to show off some of the great teaching that does go on in high school and some of the great methods that they use. Because I think that's the specialty that we can really learn from.
Thank you.
Okay.
I mean, I just have goosebumps listening to all of this. Very, yeah, fantastic.
Right.
So, could you all do the same, please? Tell us introduce yourselves and let us know what brought you to the partnership and what you're doing.
Sure. My name is Nicole Cookrall. I'm a district level administrator, and so I oversee all of English language arts in our school district for TK to 12. And it's a large school district in California, and diverse but more suburban than our Sac City colleagues are. And so the problem we were really grappling with is not unlike what you've been hearing. You heard Paula talk about how the students in Sac City were eligible for college but not ready, and we're finding the same situation in our school district as well, where students are eligible for college but they're not ready. Almost 30% of our students go to American River College, and so that's kind of like our academic struggle. But then from an organizational standpoint, we had also gotten into a period of time where many of our collaborative structures had just kind of gone away. And so we were also looking for opportunities to bring teachers together to collaborate, because teachers wanted that work, they wanted to collaborate, and so they felt really isolated and that they were working in silos. And due to just kind of the happenstance interaction between Kathleen and one of our schools, a teacher, where her son actually attends, we ended up, she reached out to me and we ended up forging a partnership, but we knew at that moment that it had to be bigger, that it wasn't just about our school district and ARC. We needed to bring in Sac State, we needed to bring in Marcy and her colleagues, we needed to bring in other people from ARC, we needed to bring in teachers. And so our solution was to develop this partnership to really enhance the collaboration of teachers. And so, like Kathleen mentioned earlier, our partnership's really, really new. We started last year with 2.5 release days where teachers were really starting to think about what they wanted this partnership to be. They've done a lot of the envisioning of the partnership. It hasn't been from me as the administrator. I've merely facilitated and supported the process. And Amy will talk more about her leadership role in that as well, because she was an instrumental part of all of it. And so we did a lot of planning last year. We began to form some common language, and then based on the feedback that we got from teachers last year, we have started to do common planning this year, looking at student work together to really examine the relationship between teaching and learning, which is a really important conversation that we need to have in all districts, but we feel particularly in ours because it's very personal. And then also beginning to develop a common assessment and conversations about calibration. Like, are we all expecting the same thing in the high schools? And then how does that translate to what colleges expect as well? And are we all speaking the same language? And if we're really saying kids are ready in high school, does that translate to them truly being ready in college? And those conversations have been so valuable, and our teachers have really just found a lot of power in knowing that they truly are preparing their kids, because college is kind of an unknown place for us. And so that's kind of from a systems perspective, how we've grappled with these problems and kind of come up with some solutions. And I know Amy can talk a little bit about her leadership role in that work last year, and also, from a classroom teacher perspective and having that collaboration and how.
My name is Amy Mack. I'm an English teacher. I'm also an AVID teacher. So I teach senior AVID, and I was noticing more and more increasing rates of students not being ready for college. They were having to take remediation courses over summer or the first semester of college. So I attended the expository reading and writing training twice. Tried on some of the units at various levels that I taught, and I just noticed student engagement increased We were a strictly novel-based curriculum at my high school, and so I engaged students that didn't think that they were really good readers with the expository texts. They found that they were much more confident, that they could also apply these skills into their other courses, like in their history classes or in their social science classes, and they were talking about how it was helping them with those. So I approached my department chair and my administrator and talked to them about potentially piloting the senior curriculum at our school to see how it was. Again, because we were so predominantly novel-based, this was an opportunity for us to bring in the expository texts. So I piloted the curriculum for 1 year, and I just saw huge increases in the quality of writing for my students. Many students that came in deemed as conditionally ready for college went through the curriculum, took the placement test for college, and they passed. So it was showing that it was really good curriculum and that the students were improving. So the next year, we got the course approved and adopted for all of our senior English courses. It replaced senior English entirely. Also, the 9th through 11th grade teachers all adopted at least one unit and taught it for the 9th through 11th grade. And they all said positive things about the unit and how it was improving student writing and how it was improving also the close reading skills that we were trying to encourage with novels, but with a shorter text, it was much easier. And then the next year, I was actually a teacher on special assignment, so I went around and I was supporting other teachers, and I was training now with ERWC. And more teachers were joining in. We actually have 5 high schools, I believe, at least adopt it and offer it as an option for senior curriculum. And they were looking for some support as well. We had some teachers that were teaching it in isolation. They had no other colleagues. So I was reaching out to them. We were connecting them with the community college and college representatives, and it's just grown. Now it's even down in our middle school.
Building those connections is so key, isn't it?
Yes.
I just remember, trying something new in my classroom and being the only one doing it. And when something didn't work, I didn't have anybody to go to and to talk about why it didn't work. So it's also key. And you talked about power, that the teachers were feeling empowered. You talked about it in terms of the knowing that they could make a difference in their student learning. But I'm also hearing a lot of empowering for having a role in making those decisions about what to teach and how to, and working together and making those decisions. And that's
this really has been teacher driven, from like all sides, with Amy's leadership, with the teachers in the classroom. And so as we grow the partnership, we're thinking about obviously how can we make it better? I mean, we're always thinking about that as educators. And we now have, Amy said last year we had 5 schools offering it, we now have 6. We have 9 high schools, 8 comprehensive high schools in our school district. And so we're hoping to get the course offered at other schools. One of the schools has reached out to me to talk about getting trained. But then also we're looking at how do we continue to get more teachers trained in this curriculum so that they can use it in their classrooms. And like Amy mentioned, we're working with middle school teachers now. I have another teacher on special assignment who's working in our office this year, who's kind of taken on the charge and is supporting the work. She has a lot of middle school connections, so she's starting to design some after-school opportunities to bring our middle school teachers together to again build that alignment up to high school, and looking at how we can be better at sharing data and collecting data and sharing information between our community college partners. So particularly ARC. So those are all pieces that we are kind of looking at. Even things like Paula and I were chatting last night about how do we bring maybe Sac City, San Juan, and Twin Rivers into like a kind of citywide network to talk about best practices. So that's a possibility. So we have some ideas for next steps and how we're going to take the work forward and just enrich and grow and provide additional opportunities for our teachers, our ARC partners, our Sac State partners, and our administrators to support the work.
Lovely. Can I ask one follow-up question? And that has to do with, so you're implementing the curriculum in lots of classrooms and lots of teachers are doing so. I heard a lot of mention of looking at student work together and norming. Can you talk a little bit about, as the curriculum spreads, what does that cross-teacher collaboration look like?
So at my site, we have release time every Thursday to collaborate, and my grade level, we get together, we look at the unit, we look at different activities, we look at maybe extra supports that some of our students, especially our EL students, what supports they would need in grappling with the text, and then also preparing for the writing portion, which we notice is as their reading is improving, now we need to work on the writing. So we come together every Thursday. We work on finding resources or just clarifying other areas that may have been confusing. We have agreed on common units, and we've also agreed on common due dates. So we bring our work together before we actually grade it, and we look at the rubric. We all have the same rubric, and we grade it individually. We norm it, and then we also work on how do we construct feedback that's going to be effective for the students using the rubric language so that they can actually grow every time. So if they earn a 3 on the first one, the goal by the next time is to earn a 4, then a 5. It's really great at our site, getting that time to work together and to norm it. And then also we use Google Drive to keep track of all of our notes so that for next year when we go back to teach it, we have all of this documented on what we did last year, what we can improve on for the next year, and things like that.
Nice.
And then we have district time that we can come together. We've all agreed, all of the senior courses have agreed on one common unit. We all gave it already, and we collected student work, and we're meeting actually next week after a break when we get back to norm it and to look at how are our students doing across the whole district, not just at our own little individual sites.
How do you find the conversations to be when you're sometimes when you're in a norming situation, you have a tendency for conflicts or differences in that norming process to be a let's play nice, yeah, you're right, yeah. Do you find that happens more often than not, or are you finding that teachers are having conversations? Well, I think being able to justify and provide the evidence, and then really having some powerful, rich conversations about where those differences lie.
From what I've observed, I mean, I guess I'm just kind of drawing on an example from the last time we met in September. There was some difference of opinion in terms of not necessarily of student work, but of an instructional decision that teachers were making. And it was really, I just kind of sat back and watched the interaction to see what would happen. And really what I noticed was that the two people that were having the professional disagreement about this instructional practice really looked at, like, listened to what the other person was saying, justified their perspective, took a step back, thought about what's really our purpose here, and then moved forward. And so I've noticed that teachers, as they've developed trust and a sense of community, they really are comfortable pushing back on each other in a professional way. I don't know if you've seen this.
I agree, and I was also going to say that everyone that's participated in this has voluntarily joined. We actually, at my site, we have teachers fighting to teach the senior course. And so the high interest allows for that trust. And we all know that what we're trying to do is get our kids ready for college. That is our ultimate goal. And to work together and to collaborate and to clarify, especially the difference between the passing, getting a 4, and not getting a 4. That's a huge discrepancy. We got to make sure that we are all on alignment.
Very lovely. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Very, very much. Yes, everybody was fabulous.
So there's